Hello, all you wonderful, absolutely perfect people out there. Guess what today is? Today we are doing a brand new show for you guys. We are doing Game Revival.
That's us.
Has never played. Today, Anthony has never played Fallout 3.
I got no words for you.
I have one. It's I hate you.
But I'm playing it now, so everyone loves this game, but I just never got around to playing it. So, I got my torn up old clothes. I'm going to head out into the wasteland and see what all the fuss is about. I did not see that coming.
And I am a piece of old beef jerky. He's just running around in his underwear with a party hat on. Woo!
I need to.
Chase the overseer.
Chase, I'm a little 10-year-old naked boy. Chase the overseer.
Alright, here we go. I'm back. I've played Fallout 3. Let me tell you what I think about it.
Let's hear it.
We'll just start with the gameplay. We'll start with the combat. It was actually pretty fluid. Very nice. You fight a lot of the same enemies throughout the whole game. You do have to use strategy for a lot of them, so it doesn't get too old or boring or tedious, but it is repetitive. The weapons are... You have a lot of options with the weapons. A lot of weapons to choose from. You got big guns, explosives, a lot of stuff, and they're all very different. They all feel different, which is pretty good. A big downside to the gameplay, I encountered several glitches where I would get stuck in the rubble. I'd get stuck on cliffs. I couldn't move the character anymore. I had to reload my game, my file, and hope that I could get out. I had to do that a few times, and then once during one of the missions, everything stopped, and nobody would move forward, and I ended up... I was clipping through walls. I was in buildings I wasn't supposed to be in. I was in areas I wasn't supposed to be in, and just walking around, and the game was basically broken, and then eventually it just froze my system. So
That happens.
Yeah.
it shouldn't happen, but
It's
yeah, I guess that's
Just a sacrifice
Bethesda.
that you have to make.
But that's the charm.
Also, there's a lot of invisible walls for this being an open world game. You know, you might think you can climb something or go somewhere, and you can't. And then there's a very clear wall around the world. The map is a big square, and if you reach an endpoint, it looks like you can keep going, but then the game is like, nah, you should probably stop. But yeah, that was just kind of weird and took me out of the immersion. The story was pretty good. It was original. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. It was what you would think, you know, in like a post-apocalyptic scenario, people trying to bring back the human race as best they can, but they were still pretty original in how they did it. You play as someone who grew up in a vault, a bunker, basically, and your father leaves, and you go off and try to find him, and it turns out that he's working to make all the water drinkable again and basically rebuild the world. And it was just a take that really hadn't been done on the whole post-apocalyptic scenario before, so that was pretty cool.
I remember the first time I started Fallout 3, I thought my father might have been taken.
Liam Neeson provides the voice of your father, which is very nice. It was a welcome surprise when I heard him very early on in the game, and he actually sticks around, and he's got a lot of lines, which was also surprising. Also, D. Bradley Baker did some roles. He did some lines. As we're talking about the voice acting, though, the problem is that there were a lot of characters in the game, and most of them had the same voices. Like, the same voices. You couldn't tell the difference between one character and another just by hearing them, because they sounded exactly the same. I mean, it's fine if you've got a lot of characters and only a few actors to work with, but they could have changed up their voices a little bit. The sound effects in the game were spot on, very good. The music that is provided was very ambiotic. It set the tone, and if you don't want to listen to the subtle background music, you can turn on the radio stations you have on your Pip-Boy, which is a cool feature. They don't have a lot of options as far as the radio goes, and it just kind of repeats over and over, and I just kind of left the radio off for most of the game.
What would you do if you were a radio DJ, but only had access to 6 songs? You'd keep playing them, wouldn't you? course.
I get it, but that level of realism is a little...
Only 6 songs survived the Great War.
Let's talk about the graphics. They're very nice. There's not a whole lot to look at because it's just a wasteland, but I never thought it was ugly because that's what it was supposed to be, is a wasteland. All of the towns feel authentic. There's buildings that have been blown up next to other buildings that are just in very rough shape, and the towns that people have built all look like they've just been built up from scrap, and it's very authentic. Nothing is pretty in this game, but that's kind of how it was supposed to be. But you still have to realize that when you're out in the wastelands, it's just a whole lot of nothing. But it's fine, because there is a lot of stuff to do. You can walk pretty far, and you'll find little things here and there, so it's cool to explore. One of the biggest problems that I had with it was that I had to go back to playing this game from current games, which current open world games, there's stuff around every corner. You know, you go exploring and you're almost certain to find something. In Fallout 3, not so much. You can explore like an area that looks like it might hold weapons or fancy items or something cool, and it'll have nothing. And it's just kind of like you do all this exploring and you come out with so little. So eventually I just kind of stopped exploring.
You can't always get what you want,
No,
Anthony.
I get it. I'm just saying it was a little harder to do now that I've played newer games. But if you look at it from when the game was first released, that changes everything because it was still really unique. It was really cool to go out there and explore, even if you don't find anything. I get it. I always try to look at games as when they came out, and that's what I had to do with Fallout 3. Because of that, I did end up actually bumping it up an entire grade higher than what I initially did. I'd certainly play it again. High replayability. Let me tell you, you got an alignment system. You can play as the bad guy. You can be a total jerk. You can be exceptionally good. You can be nice to everybody, or you can be right in the middle. Wherever you are opens up dialogue. It opens up new quests. Tons of possibilities. You can also pick what stats you want your character to have. So you can be proficient in guns. You can be proficient in hand-to-hand combat. You can focus on repairing things or hacking. You can focus on lockpicking, speech. You can be a bard, essentially.
Wouldn't you want to be a bard?
Have high charisma. And every one of these totally changes the game. It changes all the options that you're given, and you can do so much more. So it's got a high replayability, and I recommend it. Fallout 3 gets an 8 out of 10.
All right.
It's not perfect, but I enjoyed it, and I can see why everyone else did as well. So
I'm gonna cry.
I know.
those are my thoughts on it. If you haven't played it, seriously, do yourself a favor, go out and play it. The game is a bit longer, but you can skip pretty much all of the side stuff. It's hard to do because there's a lot of it, and you want to explore all of the side stuff. You want to talk to more people, but you can skip it all if you want, and go straight through the storyline. You don't have to worry about grinding. If you do the side stuff, you're looking at, I'd say, over 100 hours for a game. What would you guys say?
Yeah.
If you wanted to collect everything and do all the side quests.
Explore all the areas.
You can also technically skip a lot of the story, too.
Yeah.
That is possible. I didn't find that out until later, but yeah, you can skip some of the story if you know where to go.
Yeah.
Is that through glitching, or is that just...
No, like, one time I was playing, I completely forgot where, like, my dad was hiding. Not hiding, but, like, waiting.
You'll never find him.
And I just kind of randomly stumbled upon the place. I was like, this place looks familiar, and I was like, that's why.
So yeah, tons of different ways you can play it. You basically make this game your own. So go out and play Fallout 3, and then probably New Vegas, and probably 4, and then eventually 5, and New San Antonio.
Santa Destroy.
Just stop dropping hints.
So those are my thoughts on it. Seriously, go out, make a new opinion for yourself. Unless you've already played it, then you've got your opinion. But play it again, because you could do it in a different way and make anotother opinion. It's great.
It's true. Unless you had preconceived notions about it, then that technically would be an opinion about it.
Preconceived notions, isn't that illegal? Or am I thinking of premeditated murder?
Same thing.
I'm glad we got such a good grasp on the legal system here.